Welcome to this sonic refuge, a sacred space created especially for you. If the weight of the world seems to rest on your shoulders, if the racing thoughts of the day still echo in the silence of your room, know that you have found a safe harbor. Here, there is nothing to be done, nothing to be fixed, only a gentle invitation to be, to breathe, to rest. The journey we will take together tonight is a pilgrimage to the heart of calm, guided by the light of millennial wisdoms, the ancient teachings of the Buddha, the awakened one, are not distant dogmas, but golden keys capable of opening the doors of our own inner peace. They remind us of a truth we often forget in the rush of life. Serenity is not something to be conquered out there, but a treasure that already resides in the depths of our being, patiently waiting for our return. Imagine your mind is like a lake. During the day, winds of worry, stones of responsibility, and the agitation of tasks create constant waves on its surface, clouding the water and hiding its crystalline depth. Now, at dusk, we have the opportunity to allow the wind to cease, the waters to calm, and the full moon of consciousness to finally reflect on its mirrored surface. For the mind seeking respite from anxiety, for the weary soul yearning for a moment of renewal, for the heart seeking meaning in life's transitions, and for all who take their first steps on this path of peace, know that this space welcomes everyone, exactly as they are. Over the next 2 hours, we will journey through 30 wisdoms. Each one is a drop of dew, a seed of tranquility planted in the fertile garden of your consciousness. Don't worry about memorizing or analyzing. Just allow the words to wash over you, the pauses to calm you, and the practices to gently guide you to a state of deep relaxation, preparing you for serene and restorative sleep. Breathe deeply now. Feel the air filling your lungs, and as you exhale, release the day that has passed. Before we begin, if you feel in your heart the desire to set an intention, I invite you to leave the word peace in the comments. As a seed we plant together on this journey, you are safe. You are at peace. The journey to calm the mind and sleep better begins now. Nightly Wisdom 1. The empty boat. In the silence of the night, a question often emerges from the heart. Why do we feel so affected by the actions and words of others? Why does criticism hurt us, indifference disturb us, and the anger of others ignite our own? The mind is agitated by scenarios, by answers we will never give, by injustices we incessantly churn over, stealing the peace we so yearn for to fall asleep. The teachings of wisdom, the Dharma, offer us a liberating perspective, a new way of looking at these encounters that unbalance us. They invite us to contemplate the nature of our reactions, to understand that the disturbance rarely comes from the event itself, but from the story we tell ourselves about it. The true antidote is not in controlling the outside world, but in cultivating an inner space of equanimity and understanding. There is an ancient Zen parable that tells the story of a monk who liked to meditate in his small boat in the middle of a tranquil lake. One morning, eyes closed and immersed in deep concentration, he felt a strong jolt. Another boat had hit his. Immediately, a wave of anger surged within him. Who is the fool who can't steer clear of a stationary boat on such a vast lake, he thought. Opening his eyes, ready to reprimand the careless navigator, he was surprised. The boat that hit him was empty. It had probably come loose from the shore and floated adrift. At that moment, the monk's anger dissipated like mist in the sun. He suddenly understood. There was no one to blame. The anger was only his. He realized that most of the time, the boats that hit us in life are also empty. The people who hurt us are, themselves, adrift, pushed by their own currents of pain, ignorance, and suffering. They don't act against us. They simply act from their own inner state. How can we apply this wisdom to our night as we seek sleep? Remember an interaction today that caused you discomfort or irritation. Perhaps a harsh word from a colleague, an impatient gesture in traffic, or the silence of someone you love. See that person not as an intentional aggressor, but as an empty boat. A boat, adrift, carried by winds you don't know, by currents of a past you don't see. The impact you felt was real, but the pilot is often absent, lost in their own internal storm. By understanding this, the impulse to react, to hold a grudge, to feel like a victim, begins to lose strength. You stop fighting against the empty boat. You simply observe it, floating, and return to the calm of your own inner lake. This perception is a balm that soothes the mind and opens the doors to forgiveness, first to the other, and more importantly, to yourself, for allowing the disturbance to settle. Now let's do a short guided visualization to anchor this peace. Gently close your eyes, if you haven't already. Imagine yourself floating serenely in your own boat, in the center of a mirrored lake under the night sky. You feel safe, at peace. If any thought or memory of a boat that hit you arises, don't push it away. Just visualize it as it is. A wooden boat, empty, floating adrift. Watch it approach, perhaps lightly touch yours, and then continue its path, carried by the current, until it disappears into the vastness of the lake. With each boat that passes, you remain centered, calm, unshakable. The lake is your consciousness. You are the silence that embraces everything. May this understanding dissolve all resentment and all agitation. May you see all beings as boats, some sailing clearly, others adrift in the darkness, all worthy of compassion. May your night be blessed with the peace of the tranquil lake, free from the collisions of the day. Rest in this vast calm. Nightly Wisdom 2, the River of Impermanence. Gently observe your experience at this very moment. Observe the body lying down, its weight on the bed, the points of contact, the softness of the sheets. Feel the texture of the air entering your nostrils, a little cooler on the inhale, a little warmer on the exhale, and observe the mind. Perhaps it is trying to cling to a plan for tomorrow, or revisiting a conversation from yesterday. Perhaps there is a subtle feeling of anxiety in your chest, a nameless worry floating. The human experience is a constant flow of sensations, emotions, and thoughts, coming and going like clouds in the sky. Frequently, our suffering does not come from these experiences themselves, but from our desperate attempt to cling to those we like and push away those we dislike. We fight against the very nature of life, which is to flow. We want pleasure to be eternal and pain never to arrive, and in this struggle, we create a tension that prevents us from relaxing and falling asleep. The central wisdom that the Buddha, the awakened one, shared is that of impermanence, the truth that everything passes. Nothing is fixed. Joy, sadness, health, illness, youth, old age. The very day that turns into night. Everything is in constant motion. The mind that resists this truth is like a person trying to build a sand dam in a shallow, powerful river. It is an exhausting and losing battle. But the mind that understands and accepts impermanence becomes like a skilled surfer or a boat that sails with the flow of the river. It doesn't fight against the current. It uses the energy of the flow to move with grace and lightness. Recognizing that the discomfort you feel now is impermanent is profoundly liberating. This anxiety, this pain, this obsessive thought, they did not come to stay. They are visitors, and like all visitors, they will leave. Welcoming them without resistance is the quickest way for them to continue their journey. Let's bring this wisdom to the body with a breathing and surrender exercise. Breathing is our most powerful anchor in the constant flow of life. Each inhalation is a new beginning. Each exhalation is a letting go. Inhale deeply through your nose, counting mentally to 4, and feel your abdomen expand. Imagine that you are inhaling the acceptance of the present moment, exactly as it is. Now hold the air for a moment, just observing. And as you exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 6, imagine that you are releasing all resistance. Let go of the struggle. Let go of the need for things to be different. Let the body surrender more deeply to the bed, as if it were dissolving into the current of a river of peace. Let's repeat. Inhale acceptance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, and exhale resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel the body getting heavier, more relaxed. With each cycle, you align more with the natural rhythm of the universe. You stop fighting and start flowing. Now, allow yourself a moment of silence. In this silence, just rest in the awareness that everything is changing. The sound you hear, the sensation in your body, the thought that arises, all are passengers. Don't cling to anything. Let everything come. Let everything be. Let everything go. Your true nature is not the wave, but the entire ocean. I acknowledge the beauty of this constant flow. Gratitude for the opportunity to let go of control and trust the river of life. May I surrender to the flow of the night, knowing that it will safely carry me to the tranquil banks of a new day. May the peace of impermanence lull your sleep. Nightly wisdom. 3. The night's velvet box. The restless mind often resembles an office that never closes. You lie down, your body longs for rest, but your mind insists on working overtime. It opens files of worries, projects, spreadsheets of tasks for the next day, and reviews emails from past conversations. I need to remember to pay that bill. What did so-and-so mean by that? I can't forget the 9 o'clock meeting. Each thought is a fluorescent light that turns on in the darkness of your room, preventing the night from truly arriving. This torrent of mental responsibilities creates a subtle tension, a state of alertness that keeps the nervous system activated precisely when it most needs to shut down. The feeling is not one of control, as the mind makes us believe, but of imprisonment. We are trapped in a carousel of obligations that spins incessantly, stealing the essential peace for sleep. Buddhist teachings present us with the concept of right action and right time. Wisdom is not in annihilating thoughts or denying our responsibilities, but in recognizing that for every activity, there is a time and a place. Night is the sacred time for rest, recovery, and silence. Continuing to work mentally when the body needs to regenerate is an untimely action, which generates more imbalance than solution. The practice then becomes an act of self-love and wisdom, learning to delineate the end of the mind's workday. It is a conscious detachment, a permission you grant yourself to let go of the tools of planning and worry, with the confidence that they will be there, available to you when the sun rises. It's not about forgetting, it's about storing. It's about honoring the rhythm of nature, which teaches us through the cycle of day and night that there is a time for activity and a time for absolute rest. To help us in this task, we can use a powerful visual metaphor. Imagine next to your bed a small, exquisite box. It is your night's velvet box. It is made of dark, polished wood and lined inside with the softest, deepest velvet, the color of the midnight sky. This box has a single purpose: to safely store all your worries, plans, and tasks until dawn. It is a safe for your mind. The soft velvet symbolizes the care and gentleness with which you will treat each thought. The solid structure of the box represents the security and confidence that nothing will be lost. It doesn't nullify your worries. It honors them, giving them a safe place to rest, while you also rest. By doing so, you are not being negligent. On the contrary, you are being wise, ensuring that your mind is clear and recharged to deal with these same issues much more effectively the following day. Let's practice this now. With your eyes closed, bring to mind the first task or worry weighing on your thoughts. It can be something small or large. Feel the mental weight of this issue. Now visualize your night velvet box. Feel its smooth texture in your mental hands. With a deliberate and gentle gesture, open the lid. Take that worry, transform it into a symbolic object, perhaps a pebble, a folded piece of paper, a small gray cloud, and place it carefully on the soft velvet. Notice how the box welcomes it. Now close the lid. Feel the gentle, secure click. The worry is safely tucked away. Breathe deeply and feel the space that has opened in your mind. Do this with the next worry, and the next. One by one, deposit your pending matters in the box, confident that it will protect them. The night is for rest. Tasks belong to the day. I entrust my worries to the night's keeping and allow my mind to find peace. May silence fill the space you have just created. Carrying this understanding, Nightly Wisdom 4, the farmer's fortune and misfortune. When the body has quieted, the mind often embarks on a journey to a place that doesn't exist, the future. It becomes a teller of horror stories, an expert at creating catastrophic scenarios from small uncertainties. What if I can't finish that project on time? What if the doctor's appointment brings bad news? What if that difficult conversation doesn't go well? Each what if is a brick in the construction of a wall of anxiety that separates us from sleep. We lie in bed, but our consciousness is living weeks, months, or even years ahead, fighting battles that haven't yet happened, and suffering losses that may never materialize. The root of this nocturnal suffering is our tendency to judge and label future events as good or bad before they even manifest. This haste to define the unknown fills us with fear and tension as we try to control an ocean of possibilities from our small boat of certainties. There's an old story passed down through generations about a wise old farmer. One day, his only horse, essential for his farm, ran away. His neighbors came to lament, "What terrible misfortune." The farmer simply replied, "Misfortune? Fortune? Who knows?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. The neighbors, euphoric, exclaimed, "What incredible luck!" The farmer, calm as ever, said, "Luck? Misfortune? Who knows?" The next day, the farmer's son, while trying to tame one of the wild horses, fell and broke his leg. The neighbors returned, desolate. "What a tragedy! What terrible misfortune!" The farmer repeated, "Misfortune? Fortune? Who knows?" Weeks later, the emperor's army passed through the village, forcibly recruiting all healthy young men for a bloody war. The farmer's son, with his broken leg, was the only one spared. This story invites us to a profound humility in the face of life. It shows us the fallibility of our immediate judgments. What seems like a calamity today may turn out to be a blessing tomorrow, and what we celebrate as a great victory may contain the seeds of a future challenge. Applying this wisdom at night is an act of profound liberation. It means recognizing that the fear stories our minds create about the future are just that, stories. They are projections based on a limited vision, unable to perceive the vast and interconnected web of causes and consequences. By remembering the old farmer, we can learn to look at our anxious thoughts about tomorrow with a new perspective, the perspective of who knows. Now contemplate a future worry that has been visiting your mind. Visualize it clearly. Feel the anxiety it generates in your body. Now, instead of fighting it or sinking into it, simply whisper mentally to that worry, "Fortune? Misfortune? Who knows?" Feel how this simple phrase creates a healthy distance. It doesn't deny the possibility, but it removes the weight of catastrophic judgment. It opens a space for life to unfold as it is, and not as our minds fear it will be. Imagine that your thoughts about the future are clouds passing in the sky of your consciousness. You don't need to believe in each one nor try to push them away. Just watch them float, recognizing their transient nature, and return your focus to the only real thing, your breath, here and now. May I rest in the wisdom of not knowing. May I release the need to control the future and find peace in the mystery of the present. May the calmness of the old farmer be your pillow tonight, resting in this peace. Nightly wisdom. 5. The anchor of the body. Observe your mind for a moment. Notice how it jumps, tirelessly, from the past to the future. It remembers, regrets, plans, rehearses, worries. It's like a monkey leaping from branch to branch, rarely stopping, anywhere for more than a second. This incessant movement is one of the main sources of agitation that prevents us from sleeping. When we are lost in this whirlwind of thoughts, we lose contact with the only place where peace can be found, the present moment. We try to calm the mind using the mind itself, which is like trying to put out a fire with more fire. We create more thoughts about how we shouldn't be thinking, generating frustration and a vicious cycle of mental effort that only leaves us more awake and exhausted. Ancient Buddhist wisdom offers us an elegant and powerful way out of this dilemma. Use the body as an anchor. While the mind can travel anywhere, your body is always, undeniably, here and now. The sensations of the body, the weight, the warmth, the breath, the pulse of the heart, are direct portals to the present. The mind and body are intrinsically linked. Tension in the mind manifests as tension in the muscles, and relaxation in the body sends signals of safety and calm to the mind. Therefore, instead of fighting the losing battle in the fields of the mind, we can gently shift our attention to physical sensations. In doing so, we invite the mind to descend from its tower of thoughts and find refuge in the simplicity and truth of bodily experience. It's a homecoming. Let's now embark on a journey of deep relaxation, a body scan that will serve as our anchoring practice. Lie down as comfortably as possible and bring your attention gently to your toes. There's no need to move them, just feel them. Feel the temperature, perhaps a tingling, any sensation that is present, and then invite them to relax completely. Imagine all tension dissolving, flowing out of your feet. Now bring your attention to the soles of your feet, the heels, the instep. Allow them to become heavy, loose, and surrendered to gravity. Continue this journey of gentle attention, moving up through your ankles, your calves, feeling the muscles releasing. Bring your awareness to your knees, and then to your thighs, inviting this wave of relaxation to rise with you. Feel the weight of your legs, completely supported by the bed. Surrender them. They don't need to do anything now. Attention now rests on the hip area, the abdomen. Release any tension you are holding in this area. Let your belly become soft. Feel the gentle movement of your breath. Move up to the lower back, allowing it to sink comfortably into the mattress. Then, travel up your spine, vertebra by vertebra, until you reach your shoulders. This is an area where we accumulate so much weight from the day. Consciously, let your shoulders drop. Move away from your ears. Release them. Let that feeling of relaxation descend through your arms, elbows, forearms, until it reaches your hands and fingers. Your hands worked all day. Now they can rest. Return to your neck and throat, releasing any tightness. Relax your jaw, slightly separating. Your teeth. Let your tongue rest loosely on the floor of your mouth. Soften the muscles around your eyes, your forehead. Let your entire face become a mask of serenity. Finally, feel your entire body, from head to toe, as a unified field of relaxation. Heavy, calm, and at peace. In this state, just rest. If your mind wanders, no problem. With infinite gentleness, bring it back to the sensation of the body, to the sensation of the breath. The body is your home. The body is your anchor in the peace of now. Feeling this calm. Nightly Wisdom 6. The sky and the cloud of emotion. Even in the silence of the night, the heart can be noisy. A frustration from the day, a pang of sadness, an echo of anger. Difficult emotions often wait for the moment we lie down to surface with more force. Without the distractions of the world, we are face to face with these feelings. Our instinctive reaction is usually one of two. Either we try to suppress the emotion, pushing it into a dark corner of the mind, or we identify completely with it, letting the cloud of sadness or anger become our entire sky. In the first case, the suppressed emotion creates an underground tension that boils beneath the surface, preventing relaxation. In the second, we are dragged by the emotional storm, reliving the pain repeatedly, unable to find a safe harbor to rest. Both paths lead to the same place, a night of agitation and suffering. The teachings of wisdom show us a third path, a middle way. Wisdom lies not in denying or drowning, but in consciously welcoming. The Buddha taught that feelings are like visitors. They come and go. Some are pleasant, others are painful, but none of them define who we are. Our true nature is the space that welcomes all visitors, the vast and compassionate consciousness that perceives emotion without being consumed by it. The perfect metaphor for this is the sky. The sky is never damaged by a storm. It allows the dark clouds, the lightning, and the thunder to pass through it. But behind it all, it remains vast, open, and at peace. The practice is to learn to be the sky and not the cloud. It is to cultivate the ability to feel the emotion fully, in the body, without getting lost in the story the mind tells about it. Imagine a difficult emotion that has come up for you recently. Perhaps the frustration of something that didn't work out, or the sadness of a loss. Instead of remembering the story, the why you feel this way, just invite the pure sensation into your body. Where does it reside? Is it a tightness in your chest, a knot in your throat, a warmth in your stomach? Breathe with this sensation. Don't try to change it, fix it, or expel it. Just allow it to be there. Give it space. Now let's practice compassionate acceptance. Place a hand gently on the area of your body where you feel the emotion most intensely. This gesture is an act of friendship to yourself. And then, silently, offer yourself some kind phrases, like a balm. You can say to yourself, I recognize this pain. I see this sadness. This is the step of recognizing, of bringing the light of consciousness to the experience. Then, It's okay to feel this. I allow this sensation to be here, for now. This is the step of allowing, of stopping fighting your own experience. And finally, may I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. This is the step of nurturing, of offering loving kindness to the part of you that is suffering. There is nothing to be resolved, only to be welcomed. In doing so, you change your relationship with the emotion. From enemy, it becomes a messenger that needs to be heard with kindness. And paradoxically, when we give it this compassionate space, it often begins to soften and dissolve on its own. I am the sky, not the passing cloud. I am the silent space that welcomes all emotions with compassion and peace. I allow feelings to come, remain for as long as they need to, and then to go their way. Nightly wisdom. 7. Leaving the burden on the riverbank. How many things do we carry with us to bed at the end of the day? We're not talking about physical objects, but mental and emotional burdens. We carry the harsh word we heard, the unmet expectation, the criticism we made of ourselves, the list of everything that should have been different. Each of these burdens is heavy, and together they form an immense load that presses on our spirit, making the simple act of falling asleep a Herculean task. The mind refuses to let go of these burdens because it believes that by continuing to carry them, to churn them over, it is somehow resolving them or protecting itself. But what actually happens is the opposite. By clinging to what has already passed, to what we can no longer change, we chain ourselves to suffering and prevent the energy of healing and renewal, so abundant at night, from flowing through us. A famous Zen story perfectly illustrates this trap of attachment. 2 monks, an older one and a younger one, were on pilgrimage. They came to a river with a strong current, where a young and beautiful woman, elegantly dressed, hesitated to cross, afraid of ruining her clothes. Without saying a word, the older monk picked her up in his arms, carried her to the other bank, and gently placed her on the ground, continuing his journey. The younger monk was shocked and indignant. For hours, as they walked, he silently chewed over the incident. How could his master do that? They had vows that forbade them from touching women. It was a serious breach of the rules. Finally, unable to contain himself, he exploded. "Master, why did you do that? You broke our vows by carrying that woman." The older monk looked at him with a serene smile and said, "I left that woman on the riverbank many hours ago. You are the one who is still carrying her. Tonight." The question this wisdom poses is, what are you still carrying? What conversations, what events, what feelings from the day past have you brought with you to this sacred moment of rest? Clinging to these burdens is the source of much of our insomnia and nighttime anxiety. The Buddha's teaching on detachment is not an invitation to indifference or coldness. On the contrary, it's a radical invitation to self-love. It's the recognition that, to be present and whole, we need to learn the art of letting go, of releasing what has served its purpose, including the joys and sorrows of the day that has ended. Letting go is not forgetting. It's releasing the emotional weight so that the wisdom of the experience can remain light and integrated. Let's do a release practice. Close your eyes and visualize yourself standing on the bank of a wide, calm river, flowing gently under the moonlight. This is the river of time. Feel the gentle breeze on your face. Now, look at your hands and your back. Identify a burden you've been carrying today. It could be a worry, a resentment, self-criticism. Give it a form. Is it a heavy stone, a full backpack, a tangled rope? Feel its weight. Thank this burden for the lesson it may have brought you. And then, with a clear and loving intention, place it in the river's current. Watch it being carried away by the water, flowing further away, becoming smaller and smaller, until it disappears from sight. Breathe deeply and feel the lightness in your body. Do this with another burden and another. Leave everything on the riverbank. You don't need to carry any of this during the night. I leave on the riverbank all that no longer serves me. I choose lightness. I choose freedom. I surrender to the flow of the night with an unburdened heart and mind, ready to rest deeply. Nightly wisdom. 8. The secret garden of gratitude. When night falls and distractions quiet down, the human mind, due to an ancient survival habit, tends to scan the horizon for dangers. In our modern world, These dangers are rarely physical predators. They are worries, failures, pains, and shortcomings. The mind becomes an expert at cataloging what went wrong today, what might go wrong tomorrow, what's missing in our lives. This negativity bias, though useful for keeping us alive in ancient times, is poison for sleep. It waters the seeds of anxiety and dissatisfaction, creating infertile mental ground for rest. We lie down, in a comfortable bed, in a safe room, but our mind insists on camping on a terrain of scarcity and problems, making relaxation a distant possibility. Buddhist wisdom offers us a direct and transformative antidote to this habit, the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is not naive optimism or a denial of life's challenges. On the contrary, it is an act of clarity and deep realism. It's the conscious training of attention so that it perceives not only what is broken, but also what is whole, not only the pain, but also the relief, not only the lack, but also the abundance that already surrounds us. Each time we choose to focus our attention on a reason for gratitude, however small, we activate in the brain and body a response of safety and contentment. We are, in practice, telling our nervous system, at this moment, despite everything, we are safe. There is kindness, there is support. This message is like a balm that soothes the heart and softens the mind, turning off the worry alarm. Let's cultivate together now your secret garden of gratitude, an inner place you can visit whenever you need to. The beauty of this garden is that it blossoms with the simplest things, those we often take for granted. Begin by bringing your attention to the silent miracle of your own body, here and now. Feel a wave of gratitude for your lungs, which inhale and exhale the breath of life without you having to ask, keeping you alive every second. Feel gratitude for your heart, this tireless worker that beats in your chest, nourishing every cell of your being since the day you were conceived. Feel gratitude for your bed, for this soft and safe haven that welcomes your tired body, for the pillow that supports your head, for the blanket that warms you. Feel the texture, the comfort. This is not insignificant. It is a blessing. Now, allow your mind to gently wander through the day that is ending. Set aside the difficulties for a moment and look for a small moment of beauty or kindness, perhaps the taste of your morning coffee, the smile of a stranger, a song that played on the radio, the sunlight entering through the window, a moment of silence you managed for yourself. It doesn't have to be grand. The most powerful gratitude blossoms in small things. Embrace this memory. Feel the sensation it brought, even if only for a second. Let the warmth of this small joy fill your heart. With each inhalation, breathe in this feeling of gratitude. With each exhalation, let it spread throughout your body, like a golden healing light, dissolving the shadows of worry. I am grateful for the gift of breath, which anchors me in the present. I acknowledge the silent abundance that surrounds and sustains me. May my heart rest on the fertile ground of gratitude, and may peace blossom in my sleep. Allowing this truth to settle. Nightly Wisdom 9. The open hands of trust. Notice for a moment the tension in your body, perhaps in your jaw, shoulders, or stomach. Often, this physical tension is the manifestation of a deep mental effort, the need to control. Lying in the darkness, we try to control the uncontrollable. We try to plan every detail of the next day, rehearse conversations, anticipate the movements of other people, and manage the outcomes of situations far beyond our reach. This attempt to hold the reins of the entire universe is profoundly exhausting. The mind becomes an anxious strategist, unable to switch off, believing that if it releases control for a second, everything will collapse. This state of hypervigilance is the antithesis of sleep. Sleeping is, in essence, an act of surrender, of releasing control, and our resistance to doing so is what keeps us awake. The teachings of wisdom invite us to contemplate the difference between effort and tension, between responsibility and the illusion of control. Being responsible is doing what is within our reach, wisely and diligently during the day. Trying to control is clinging to outcomes, fighting against the natural flow of life, which is inherently uncertain and unpredictable. Peace doesn't come from tighter control, but from the wisdom of recognizing what we can influence and the serenity to accept what we cannot. The Buddha taught that attachment to the outcome is a primary source of suffering. By clinging to a specific future we have planned, we create constant tension between our expectation and reality. True freedom, especially at night, comes from letting go of this need for certainty. Imagine that your need for control is a hand firmly clenched, a tight fist. Feel the energy required to maintain this tension. The muscles are contracted. The blood doesn't flow freely. With a clenched fist, you cannot receive anything. You cannot feel the caress of the wind or hold someone's hand. You are just tense. This is the energy of the mind that tries to control. It closes itself off to the flow of life. The practice to find nighttime peace is to learn to deliberately open this hand, finger by finger. It's not an act of giving up, but an act of immense courage and trust. Trust in your ability to cope with whatever tomorrow brings. Trust in life's resilience. Trust that the universe can continue to turn for a few hours without your constant supervision. Let's bring this metaphor to the body. Bring your attention to your hands. If there is any tension, gently release it. Now mentally visualize an area of your life that you are trying to control very strongly. It could be your work, a relationship, your health. Feel the mental tension associated with it. Now, imagine this tension as a clenched fist in your mind, and with your breath as a guide, begin to release. As you inhale, become aware of the tension. As you exhale, imagine your little finger releasing. Release some control. Inhale again. As you exhale, release the next finger. Release the need to predict everything. Exhale once more and release the middle finger, releasing judgment about yourself and others. Release the index finger, releasing rigid expectations. And finally, release the thumb, releasing the core idea that you need to be in command of everything. Contemplate your mental hand, now open, relaxed. Feel the peace, the space, the receptiveness. I release the need to control what cannot be controlled. I open my hands and my heart to the flow of life. I trust that rest will bring me clarity for the new day. I allow myself to surrender, breathing in this wisdom. Nightly wisdom. 10. The raft and the other shore. In the silence that precedes sleep, who are you? Often, the answers that arise are labels, identities that we carry like clothes. I am an anxious person. I am someone who sleeps poorly. I am a stressed professional. I am a father, a mother, a child. We cling to these stories about ourselves with such force that they become our reality. The mind identifies with problems, roles, past experiences, and then wonders why it can't find peace. We carry the weight of these identities to bed, and they become the bars of the prison that prevent us from accessing a state of deep relaxation. Suffering perpetuates because we forget that we are much vaster than any label, any story, any problem. The Buddha offered a powerful parable to help us understand this. He said that his teachings, the Dharma, are like a raft. Imagine you are on one bank of a vast and turbulent river, representing suffering, confusion, and anxiety. You build a raft with the teachings, meditation practices, wisdom, compassion, and use it to safely cross to the other shore. The other shore is peace, clarity, liberation. Now, asked the Buddha, what would a wise person do upon reaching the other shore? Would they continue to carry the raft on their back while exploring the new land? Of course not. They would leave the raft on the bank, grateful for its service, and move on, free and light. Many of our identities and problems are like this raft. They were useful, perhaps even essential, to help us navigate certain phases of our lives. The identity of survivor, for example, may have been crucial to get through a trauma. The identity of careful planner may have helped us build a career. But when we take these rafts to bed, when we insist on carrying them on our backs in a place that should be pure, rest, they become a burden. The identity of person who sleeps poorly may have arisen from a few nights of insomnia, but by clinging to it, we transform it into a self-fulfilling prophecy. We arrive at the shore of the night, the shore of peace, and instead of letting go, we continue to carry the weight of the day, the weight of the past, the weight of who we think we are. Contemplate with kindness the rafts you may be carrying tonight. What are the labels you use to define yourself that cause you weight? Perhaps it's worried, imperfect, inadequate. There's no need to judge them. Just acknowledge them for what they are: mental constructions, stories, rafts that helped you navigate the river of life. Now, visualize yourself arriving at the serene shore of the night. The sand is soft, the air is calm, and the moon shines on the calm waters. With a feeling of deep gratitude for how these identities served you, visualize yourself releasing the raft. Leave it on. The sand. Notice the immediate relief in your shoulders, your back, your mind. You are not your anxiety. You are not your insomnia. You are not your problems. You are the consciousness that perceives all of this. You are the peaceful shore. I leave on the shore of the night the stories that define me and the burdens that weigh me down. I thank the raft, but now I release it. I walk to my rest light, free and open to the silence, carrying this understanding. Nightly wisdom. 11. Thus, wisdom that dwells in silence. We live immersed in an ocean of noise, the noise of cities, screens, notifications, news. And when the external noise finally ceases, as we lie down, we are faced with the internal noise, the incessant monologue of the mind. This constant noise has conditioned us to fear silence. The silence of the night can seem like a frightening emptiness, and our mind rushes to fill it with anything: plans, memories, worries, just so it doesn't have to face the far vastness of nothing. But what if this emptiness is not a nothing but a everything? What if silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything that is essential? This is the transition we will make now, from seeing silence as an enemy to be filled, to recognizing it as a wise friend, a master who has much to teach us. In the Buddhist tradition, and in many other contemplative practices, silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a portal to clarity and profound wisdom. It is in silence that the habitual patterns of the mind become visible. It is in silence that intuition can finally whisper its truths. It is in silence that the nervous system finds its natural state of rest and regeneration. The mind is like a pot of muddy water. While we stir it with constant thoughts, the water remains cloudy. But if we let the pot rest in silence, the mud, by itself, settles to the bottom, revealing the crystalline clarity of the water. The nighttime practice of silence is not about forcing the mind to be quiet, which would be more agitation. It's simply about creating the conditions for it to settle by itself. Let's now practice the art of listening to silence. Find a comfortable and relaxed position. Instead of focusing on your breath for a moment, shift your attention to your sense of hearing. Become like a large parabolic antenna, open and receptive to all sounds, without judgment. Perhaps you'll hear distant sounds. From the street, the hum of an electronic device, the subtle sounds of your own home settling. Welcome them all. Don't label them as good or bad, pleasant or irritating. They are merely vibrations in the air, just sound waves that come and go in the vast ocean of your consciousness. Let the sounds pass through you, without clinging to any of them. Now, let's deepen the practice. Begin to notice the space between the sounds. Notice the small pauses, the moments of quietude, and, even more subtly, try to perceive the silence that underlies all sounds. Silence is the canvas upon which all sounds are painted. It was here before the sound began, and will be here after it ends. It is the foundation. Rest your attention in this underlying silence. It's like diving below the churning waves of the ocean's surface to find the still calm of the depths. Bring this same quality of listening to your inner experience. Listen to the flow of your thoughts in the same way you listen to the external sounds. Observe a thought arise, remain for a moment and disappear, and listen to the silence it leaves behind, before the next one arises. Rest in that interval, in that sacred space between thoughts. Wisdom isn't in the noise, but in the silence that contains it. Peace isn't in the absence of thoughts, but in the silent space between them. May I become a friend of silence. May I find refuge in its vastness and clarity, resting in this peace. Nightly wisdom. 12. Embracing the inner critic with compassion. In the silent theater of the night, an uninvited character often takes the stage, the inner critic. With the voice of reason, it begins its monologue, replaying the day's mistakes, the words we shouldn't have said, the tasks we didn't complete perfectly. Why did you do that? You should have tried harder. You never learn. This voice can be relentless. It judges us with a harshness we would rarely use with another person. The result of this constant judgment is a feeling of inadequacy, shame, and anxiety, which causes bodily tension and agitates the mind, making sleep nearly impossible. We fight against this voice, try to silence it, or worse, believe everything it says, entering a cycle of self-recrimination that drains our vital energy. Buddhist wisdom offers a radically different approach: self-compassion. The Buddha taught that compassion shouldn't be a one-way street, directed only outwards. He said we could search the entire universe for someone more deserving of our love and compassion than ourselves, and we wouldn't find them. Self-compassion isn't self-pity, nor is it self-indulgence or an excuse for our mistakes. It's simply treating ourselves with the same kindness, care, and understanding we would offer a good friend who is suffering. It's recognizing that to be human is to be imperfect, and that making mistakes is part of the learning and growth process. Wisdom doesn't flourish in soil of self-criticism, but in soil of self-acceptance. We can see the inner critic not as an enemy to be defeated, but perhaps as a part of us that is scared and, in a distorted way, is trying to protect us. It believes that by keeping us small and criticizing us before others do, it's keeping us safe. The compassionate approach isn't to fight with it, but to embrace it. It's like a wise parent seeing a scared child throwing a tantrum. Instead of shouting back, the parent kneels down, hugs the child, and says, "I see you're scared. It's okay. You're safe." By offering this kindness to our inner critic, we disarm it. The energy of compassion is far more powerful than the energy of judgment. Let's practice this now, with a simple and powerful gesture. Place one or both hands over your heart. Feel the gentle warmth of your hands. This is a universal gesture of affection and comfort. Breathe deeply, feeling the gentle movement of your chest beneath your hands. Now bring to mind one of the criticisms your mind made to you today. Just for a moment, feel the sting it causes, and then direct the energy of compassion from your hands inwards to that part of you that feels judged and inadequate. Silently, offer yourself some phrases of loving kindness. You can use these or create your own. May I be kind to myself. Breathe. May I forgive myself for my imperfections. Breathe. May I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. Breathe. May I be at peace. Feel each phrase like a drop of balm, soothing the wound of self-judgment. I embrace myself with the same kindness I offer others. My peace begins with my own compassion. May I be a safe refuge for myself, tonight and always. Nightly wisdom. 13. The gift you can refuse. Night should be a time of peace, but for many of us, it transforms into a court of law. The mind, acting as prosecutor and judge, re-examines the day's events, especially conflicts and painful interactions. We rehearse the harsh word, relive the disapproving look, feel again the sting of criticism or injustice. Each repetition is like rubbing salt in the wound, reactivating in our bodies the same stress and pain responses from the original experience. We wonder why another person's anger has so much power over us, why someone else's negativity can invade our inner sanctuary and poison our rest. We believe, unconsciously, that by rehashing these events we are somehow processing them, but in reality, we are only repeatedly injuring ourselves with the same knife. The Buddha, in his profound understanding of the human mind, offers us liberating wisdom on this. Once, a man approached him and began to insult him with great fury. The Buddha listened in silence, with unwavering calm. When the man finished, the Buddha serenely asked him, "My friend, if you buy a gift for someone, and that person doesn't accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man, taken aback, replied, "To me, of course." The Buddha then smiled and said, "Exactly. You offered me the gift of your anger and your insults, and I choose not to accept it." This simple analogy contains one of the most powerful keys to inner peace. The anger, criticism, and negativity of another person are gifts they offer us from their own suffering, and we have the absolute freedom to accept them or not. When someone verbally attacks us and we react with anger or spend the whole night ruminating on their words, we are, in practice, accepting that poisoned gift. We bring it into our house, our mind, and allow it to spread its venom. Wisdom lies not in building walls to prevent gifts from arriving, but in cultivating an inner clarity so stable that we can simply say no, thank you the moment it's offered. This isn't an act of arrogance or indifference. It's an act of self-compassion and great wisdom. You recognize that the other person's anger belongs to them, is the fruit of their own seeds, and you don't need to take it upon yourself. By doing so, you not only protect your own peace, but also break the cycle of reactivity. Think now of a word or action from someone that hurt you today or recently. Feel how you accepted this gift, how it settled in your chest or stomach. Now let's practice returning it. Visualize the person who offered you this energy. See their anger or criticism as a dark and heavy object in their hands. Now visualize the Buddha, or simply a presence of great peace, asking them the question, do you really need to accept this? Breathe deeply and, with clear intention, visualize yourself refusing the gift. You can see it fall to the ground and dissolve, or simply see it remaining in the hands of the person who offered it. Feel the immediate lightness in your own energy field. You are no longer carrying the other person's burden. I choose not to accept the gifts of anger, judgment, or negativity that are offered to me. My inner peace is my most precious possession. I protect it with wisdom and compassion. May my heart remain free. Breathing in this wisdom, nightly wisdom. 14. The wave and the ocean of connection. The darkness of night can at times amplify one of the most painful feelings of the human experience, loneliness. In silence, the feeling of being a separate entity, isolated, an I contained within our skin, can become acute. We feel a chasm between ourselves and the rest of the world. This perception of separation is a profound source of suffering and anxiety. It makes us feel small, vulnerable, and disconnected from a universe that seems vast and indifferent. We lie in our beds and feel like a solitary island, adrift in a dark ocean. This feeling of isolation is one of the biggest lies the mind tells us, an illusion that prevents us from accessing the peace that comes from connection. Buddhist wisdom invites us to look more closely at this supposed separation. One of its deepest teachings is that of interdependence, or as the master Thich Nhat Hanh called it, interbeing. This teaching reveals that nothing, absolutely nothing, exists by itself. Everything is intrinsically connected in a vast and complex web of life. Look at your hand. This hand doesn't exist by itself. It exists thanks to your parents, your grandparents, all the food you've eaten, which in turn came from the sun, the rain, the earth, and the work of countless people. The air you breathe at this very moment was exhaled by a tree, perhaps thousands of miles away. You are, literally, breathing the forest, and the forest is breathing you. The illusion of separation dissolves when we contemplate this reality. The perfect metaphor for our existence is that of a wave in the ocean. If you were a wave, you might look at yourself and think, I have a beginning and an end. I am small and temporary. I am alone. You could spend your entire short life comparing yourself to other waves, fearing the moment you will crash against the shore and disappear. But if, for a moment, the wave looked deeper, it would realize the truth. It is not just a wave, it is the ocean. Its true nature is not its temporary form, but the vastness of the water that composes it. It has never been separate from the ocean. It is an expression of the ocean itself. So it is with us. Our identity, our separate I, is the form of the wave. But our true nature is the vast ocean of life, interconnected with all beings. Let's feel this connection in our bodies now. Bring your attention to your breath. With each inhalation, recognize that you are welcoming the world within you, the oxygen, the energy of the plants, the gift of the atmosphere. With each exhalation, recognize that you are giving back to the world. Feel this exchange, this rhythm that connects you to all life on the planet. Now feel the weight of your body on the bed. Think of the cotton of the sheets, the wood of the bed. Follow the story of these materials back to the earth, to the seed, to the sun, to the rain, to the hands that harvested and transformed them. You are being sustained by the whole earth. Feel this deep connection. You are not alone. You are an essential and inseparable part of this immense and miraculous web of existence. I am a wave, and I am the ocean. I breathe with the world, and the world breathes with me. In the depth of my Being, I find my connection with all beings. My loneliness dissolves in this truth, allowing this truth to settle. Nightly wisdom. 15. The silent wisdom of breath. We spend the whole day seeking answers and clarity outside of ourselves. We read books, listen to advice, consume information, hoping that something or someone will tell us how we should feel, what we should do, who we should be. And when we lie down at night, the mind continues this frantic search, churning over problems, analyzing scenarios, trying to discover a solution to our unease. This external search, although natural, often distances us from the deepest, most accessible and reliable source of wisdom we possess, a source that is with us every moment, from birth to death, our own breath. In the Buddhist path, mindful attention to breath, known as anapanasati, is not merely a relaxation exercise, it is a practice of profound wisdom. Breath is seen as the perfect bridge between body and mind, between the conscious and the unconscious. It is our most faithful anchor in the present moment, the only place where life truly happens. When we are anxious about the future, our breath is short and gasping. When we are trapped in ruminations about the past, our breath can be heavy and irregular. A calm and clear mind is reflected in a long, smooth, and tranquil breath. The wisdom here is twofold. Breath not only reflects our mental state, but can also actively transform it. By bringing a quality of gentle and conscious attention to the breath, we invite the mind to follow its example of calm and balance. More than that, breath is a silent teacher of the great truths of existence. Each respiratory cycle teaches us about impermanence. The inhalation is born, remains for a moment, and then dies, giving way to the exhalation, which in turn also disappears. Nothing is permanent. Each breath is a reminder that life is flow, change, a constant letting go. It also teaches us about non-attachment. We cannot hold an inhalation forever, for that would kill us. To receive the next breath of air that sustains us, we must first release the previous one. Similarly, in life, to welcome the new, we need to learn to let go of the old. And finally, breath teaches us about the not-self. You are not making the breath happen. It happens by itself. There is a greater intelligence at work, a natural process of which we are a part. This invites us to relax the effort of the controlling self and trust in the flow of life. Let's sit with this wise teacher for a few moments. Settle in comfortably and bring your full attention to the sensations of your breath, wherever you feel it most clearly, perhaps in your nostrils, your chest, or your abdomen. Don't try to change or control your breath in any way. Just observe it with the curiosity of a scientist and the kindness of a friend. Feel the beginning, middle, and end of an inhalation. Notice the small pause that follows, that moment of stillness. Then feel the beginning, middle, and end of the exhalation, and the pause that comes after, a space of emptiness and surrender. Just rest your attention on this natural rhythm. If your mind wanders off into thoughts, which is perfectly normal, simply note where it went, and, with infinite gentleness, guide it back home, back to the breath. Each return is a victory of presence over habit. My breath is my anchor. My breath is my teacher. My breath is my way back home, to the peace of the present moment. May I rest in the simple wisdom of the in-breath and the out-breath, resting in this peace. Nightly wisdom. 16. The neighbor's garden and the flowers of the heart. One of the most subtle thieves of nighttime peace is comparison. Lying in stillness, our minds can transform into a measuring stick, incessantly comparing our lives to the lives of others. We see a colleague's success, a friend's vacation on social media, a relative's happy relationship, and an inner voice whispers, "Why not me?" This comparison breeds a two-pronged poison, envy and inadequacy. We feel a pang of resentment at another's good fortune and, simultaneously, a sense of lack and failure in our own lives. This mental habit puts us in a state of competition and scarcity, as if happiness were a limited resource, and another person's light diminishes our own. It's a guaranteed path to dissatisfaction and restlessness. The Buddhist tradition offers a luminous and expansive antidote to the poison of comparison, the practice of mudita, which can be translated as appreciative joy or altruistic joy. Mudita is the ability to feel genuine happiness for the happiness, success, and good fortune of others. It's not a forced feeling, but a quality of the heart that can be cultivated. It arises from an understanding of interconnectedness and an abundance mindset. Instead of viewing happiness as a limited pie where another's slice means less for us, mudita invites us to see happiness as sunlight, unlimited and available to all. Celebrating another person's joy takes nothing away from us. On the contrary, it expands our own capacity for joy and connects us to a wellspring of well-being that doesn't depend solely on our personal circumstances. Imagine two seeds planted side by side in a garden. The first seed spends all its time looking at the second. It worries if the other is getting more sun, more water. It fills with envy when the other sprouts first. It measures its growth each day against the growth of its neighbor. Exhausted by this constant vigilance and comparison, it barely manages to grow, its roots shallow and its leaves yellowed. The second seed, however, focuses its energy inward and upward. It absorbs the sunlight offered to it, drinks the water the rain brings, and sinks its roots deeply into the nourishing soil. Without worrying about the seed next door, it grows strong and vibrant, blossoming into a magnificent plant. Comparison is the energy of the first seed. Mudita is the wisdom of the second. Tonight, let's practice cultivating mudita. Bring to mind, with kindness, someone in your life whose happiness or success has caused you a slight feeling of envy. Don't judge yourself for it. It's a common human reaction. Just acknowledge the feeling. Now, instead of focusing on your sense of lack, try for a moment to imagine that person's joy. Try to feel, from their perspective, the happiness they are experiencing. And then, from a generous place in your heart, offer them a sincere wish for well-being. You can silently repeat, "May your happiness continue. May it grow and flourish. I rejoice in your joy." Observe what happens in your own heart as you do this. There may be resistance at first, but with repetition, a softening, a sense of expansion often arises. You are releasing the energy that was trapped in comparison. Another person's light doesn't extinguish mine. Joy in the world is not a limited resource. By celebrating the happiness of others, I expand my own capacity to be happy. May my heart learn to blossom with joy for all beings. Carrying this understanding. Nightly Wisdom 17. The Spacious Mind Room. Have you ever felt that your mind is like a computer with dozens of tabs open at the same time? A tab for work, one for family, one for finances, one for the news, one for vacation planning, another for a conversation from 3 days ago. This overload of information and simultaneous thoughts creates a sense of disorder and oppression, a mental noise that leaves us exhausted and fragmented. When we take this cluttered mind to bed, it's like trying to sleep in the middle of a chaotic room, filled with objects scattered on the floor, piles of clothes, and open drawers. There's no space to relax. The mind jumps from one tab to another, unable to quiet down, trapped in a state of paralysis by analysis that prevents us from finding the simple path to rest. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that clarity doesn't come from processing more information, but from cultivating simplicity and the one-pointed mind, ekaggata. Peace is not found by solving every item on our mental to-do list, but by recognizing that, for this present moment of rest, most of those items are irrelevant. The practice is like tidying a room. It's not about throwing everything away, but about discerning what is essential for now and putting the rest in its proper place. The wisdom lies in recognizing that, to sleep, only one thing is necessary, the intention to rest. Everything else can wait until dawn. Creating this mental space is a deliberate act of self-care, freeing us from the weight of excess and allowing us to breathe. Imagine that your mind is, in fact, a room, the room where your consciousness dwells. Throughout the day, you've accumulated many objects in this room, thoughts, worries, ideas, resentments. Now at night, it's time to tidy it up so you can rest peacefully. Stand at the door of your mental room and observe the clutter with compassion, without judgment. It's just the result of a day lived. Now, with a clear intention to create a serene space, begin the task of simplification. Take the first mental object that catches your attention. perhaps a worry about work. Hold it mentally. Look at it and ask yourself, is this essential for my peace right now, at this moment of lying down to sleep? The answer, invariably, will be no. Then, with a gentle mental gesture, open the door of the room and place that object outside. You can imagine a shelf or a cupboard in the hallway called "for tomorrow." The object will be there, safe, when you wake up. Now come back inside and take the next object, perhaps an irritating memory. Look at it, acknowledge it, and then gently place it outside as well. Do this with each thought, each plan, each worry. Notice how, with each object you remove, the room of your mind becomes more spacious, cleaner, airier. The air circulates more freely. The energy becomes calmer. Soon the room is almost empty, containing only the essentials: a comfortable bed, your relaxed body, and an open window to the moon, your tranquil consciousness. At this moment, only this is necessary: to breathe and rest. I release everything else to the care of the night. I create in my mind a space of silence, simplicity, and peace. In this clean and serene room, I can finally rest. Nightly Wisdom 18. The Art of Doing Nothing. There comes a point at night when, after trying all the relaxation techniques, a new kind of anxiety can arise. Anxiety about relaxation itself. Am I doing it right? Why am I not asleep yet? I need to try harder to relax. Paradoxically, the very effort to fall asleep becomes the greatest obstacle to sleep. We transform rest into a project, a goal to be achieved, and we mobilize the part of our mind that specializes in doing, in solving, in controlling. But sleep doesn't belong to that realm. Sleep is a state of being, not an act of doing. It cannot be conquered by willpower. It can only be welcomed by surrender. Trying to chase sleep is like trying to hold water in your closed hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes. Ancient wisdom teaches us about the beauty and power of non-doing. This doesn't mean being lazy or negligent. It's the subtle art of allowing things to happen at their own pace, without our constant interference. It's the understanding that there is a natural intelligence in the body and in the universe that knows exactly what to do, if we just get out of the way. Your body knows how to sleep. It longs for it. What prevents it is the mind that insists on supervising the process, that refuses to relinquish command. The wisdom of non-doing is an invitation to gently dismiss this night manager. It's trusting that your body is like a seed that knows how to germinate, and sleep is like fertile earth. You don't need to force the seed to grow. You just need to stop digging in the earth to see if it's already growing. The practice of non-doing is radical in its simplicity. It involves the conscious release of the agenda, including the agenda of having to sleep now. Instead, the invitation is to simply rest. Just be in your bed. Feel the sensations of the body without the need to change them. Listen to the sounds of the night without the need to interpret them. Observe the thoughts that come and go without the need to follow them or expel them. The goal shifts from falling asleep to being present with whatever is happening. Paradoxically, when we abandon the desperate struggle for sleep, we create precisely the conditions of peace and acceptance that it needs to emerge naturally. It is surrender that opens the door. Let's practice non-doing now. Feel your body lying down. Notice any subtle tension that may be linked to trying. Perhaps a slight contraction in the forehead muscles, a stiffness in the jaw, a controlled breath. With a long, gentle exhalation, release this layer of effort. Give yourself permission to do absolutely nothing. There is no technique to be perfected, no state to be achieved. If thoughts come, let them come. If sensations arise, let them arise. If sleep comes, let it come. If it doesn't come, just continue to rest in a state of passive presence. You are simply here. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the air on your skin. There is nothing more to be done. You are safe in the simple act of being. I abandon the struggle. I release the effort. I don't need to do anything, just be. By resting in non-doing, I create the perfect space for peace and sleep to find me. Resting in this peace. Nightly Wisdom 19. Emptying the mind's cup. As the night progresses, the mind can become a stubborn expert. It believes it knows everything about our situation. I know why I can't sleep. it's because of work stress. I know what kind of person I am. I'm someone who worries too much. I've tried everything, and nothing works for me. This expert mind is like a cup that is already full of opinions, past stories, limiting beliefs, and certainties about the future. And, like a full cup, it cannot receive anything new. It cannot welcome peace. It cannot experience a new possibility because there is no space. This mental rigidity is a subtle but immensely powerful barrier that prevents us from finding tranquility. One of the most beautiful Zen stories is that of a university professor, a great scholar, who went to visit an old master to learn about Zen. The professor began to speak, displaying all his vast knowledge, his theories, and his interpretations. The master listened patiently and invited him to have tea. He began to pour tea into the professor's cup. The cup filled, but the master continued to pour, and the tea began to overflow, running down the table. The professor, alarmed, exclaimed, "The cup is full. Nothing more will fit." The master stopped pouring, looked at him and said, "Just like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Tonight, wisdom invites us to empty our cup. What does this mean? It means approaching this moment, this night, with what the masters call shoshin, or beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is an open, curious mind, free from the weight of the past. It doesn't assume it already knows. It is willing to see everything as if for the first time. What would it be like to feel the texture of your sheet as if you had never felt a sheet before? What would it be like to listen to the sounds of the night with the curiosity of a child? What would it be like to observe an anxious thought without the old story of, "Here comes my anxiety again," but with a simple question, "What is this?" The beginner's mind dissolves the rigidity of habit and opens the door to the miracle of the present moment. It frees us from the tyranny of who we think we are. Let's practice emptying the cup. Bring to your awareness a belief you have about yourself and your sleep. Perhaps the belief that it's always difficult for me to fall asleep. Hold this belief in your mind. Now imagine that this belief is the old bitter tea at the bottom of a cup. With a long exhalation, visualize yourself turning the cup over and pouring out all that content. Let the story go. Let the certainty go. Now contemplate your mental cup, clean and empty, ready to receive the fresh experience of this exact moment, without filters. Feel the space that this creates. Feel the possibility. Approach your breath with a beginner's mind. Feel the sensation of the air as if it were the first time. Approach the silence with a beginner's mind. Feel its texture, its vastness. There is nothing to know, only to experience. I empty my cup of old stories and certainties. I open my mind to the freshness of this moment. With the curiosity of a beginner, I allow myself to discover the peace that has always been here, waiting for me. Carrying this understanding, Nightly Wisdom 20, the anchor of deep trust. We've reached a crucial point on our journey. We've explored releasing the burdens of the day, embracing emotions, cultivating gratitude and compassion. We've practiced non-doing and the beginner's mind. And yet, there might be a moment when the mind still hesitates, when a final wave of doubt or restlessness arises. It's the now what moment. On this threshold between awakened awareness and sleep, what remains? The answer is the final and most important wisdom we can cultivate: trust. Not blind faith, but a serene and secure trust, born of understanding and practice. It's time to put down the tools and trust the foundation we've built. This trust unfolds in 3 layers. The first is trust in the practice. It's the recognition that the seeds we've planted throughout this journey of mindfulness, compassion, detachment are potent. Even if we don't see immediate results, trust tells us these seeds are germinating in the fertile soil of our consciousness. Every mindful breath, every act of self-kindness has an effect. The second layer is trust in the natural process of life. Just as we trust the sun will rise tomorrow, we can trust our body's ability to heal and regenerate. Sleep is a natural process. We don't need to invent it, only allow it to happen. Trust frees us from the need to micromanage our own biology. The third and deepest layer is trust in our own fundamental nature. Buddhist teachings tell us that beneath all the turmoil of thoughts and emotions there exists a Buddhic nature, an essence that is inherently peaceful, spacious, and wise. It's like the blue sky, always present, even when covered by storm clouds. Our practice doesn't create this peace. It merely removes the clouds that obscure it. Trusting this nature is knowing that, no matter how agitated the mind seems, our true home is peace, and we can always return to it. This trust is the final anchor that keeps us steady in the safe harbor of the night. Let's weave these wisdoms into an affirmation of trust, a mantra we can repeat softly in our hearts. Let each phrase resonate within your being, not as an effort, but as a remembrance of truths you already know. Breathe gently and repeat internally. Breathing with the world, I feel connected. I am the vast sky, not the passing cloud. My peace begins with my own compassion. I release the need to control and trust the flow. I empty my cup and rest in not knowing. I am held by the silence, and in this trust, I rest. Repeat once more, feeling the vibration of each truth. Breathing with the world, I feel connected. I am the vast sky, not the passing cloud. My peace begins with my own compassion. I release the need to control and trust the flow. I empty my cup and rest in not knowing. I am held by the silence, and in this trust, I rest. Trust this anchor. Let it hold you firmly and gently. You have done enough. You are enough. Now the only wisdom that remains is to trust and surrender. Nightly Wisdom 21. Dissolving into the sacred darkness. We now enter the portal of deep night. The outside world falls silent, and darkness envelops us. To the restless mind, darkness can seem threatening. It can be associated with the unknown, with loss of control, with emptiness. Our instinct is to fight it, turning on lights, seeking distractions, filling the space with the noise of our thoughts. We treat the night as an obstacle to be overcome, a time to be conquered until the safety of daylight returns. But tonight, let's shift our relationship with darkness. Let's explore it not as an absence, but as a sacred presence, a womb of infinite potential from which all creation emerges. Mystical traditions worldwide revere darkness. It is the fertile ground where seeds germinate. It is the deep silence of the cosmos, where stars are born. It is the space of mystery, of dreams, of intuition. The darkness of night is not empty. It is full of an energy of rest, of dissolution, and of renewal. It is the great cosmic blanket that invites us to release the rigid boundaries of our self, to abandon the masks we wear during the day, and to merge with something far greater than ourselves. The wisdom here is to stop fighting and begin to embrace. It is to see darkness not as a threat, but as a blessing, an invitation to the deepest rest there is, the rest of being no one. To truly embrace deep peace, we need to be willing to dissolve a little. The self that strives, that plans, that worries. This mental construct needs to relax its boundaries so that sleep can arrive. Sleep is a state of non-self, and darkness is our perfect ally in this process. It helps us forget the contours of our body, to detach from our visual identity, and to surrender to an experience of pure consciousness, formless and nameless. To fear darkness is to fear our own depth, to fear our vast and boundless nature. Tonight, we invite it in as a dear friend. Begin by feeling the darkness in your room. Feel it not as emptiness, but as a velvety, soft, and welcoming substance. Feel it on your skin. Now close your eyes and imagine that, with each exhale, you are allowing this gentle darkness to enter your body. Let it fill your feet, your legs, your torso, your arms, your head. Imagine your body becoming a vessel of peaceful darkness. Now, take the next step. With each exhale, feel the edges of your body beginning to soften, to become more porous. Visualize the boundaries between your body and the room dissolving. You are blending with the darkness. The air in your lungs is the same air in the room. The quiet in your heart is the same quiet of the night. Continue to exhale and release until the sense of a separate self begins to fade away. There is no longer a body lying in bed. There is only a vast expanse of peaceful consciousness, floating in an ocean of tranquil darkness. You are safe. You are boundless. You are the peace of the night. Rest in this state of being, without boundaries and without effort, breathing in this wisdom. Nightly wisdom. 22. The courage of final surrender. We are now on the threshold, the final portal before deep sleep. All the practices have been done, all the wisdoms contemplated. The mind is calmer, the body more relaxed. And yet, there may be a last vestige of control, a final spark of the observer checking, am I almost there? Is it working? This moment is the subtlest and most crucial. It is the moment that demands not another technique, but an act of courage, final surrender. It is the willingness to completely abandon the attempt to control the outcome, to take the leap into the unknown of sleep with complete trust. Surrender is not weakness, it is the highest form of wise strength. It is the recognition that we have done all we can, and that now it is time to trust a higher power, be it the intelligence of our body, the flow of life, or the mystery of the universe. It is the moment when the actor leaves the stage and allows the play to unfold by itself. Any effort, however small at this point, only reaffirms the self that is trying to make something happen. And it is precisely this self that needs to rest for sleep to arise. Absolute peace is not something we achieve. It is what remains when all effort ceases. Imagine someone learning to float in water. At first, they are afraid. They thrash about, flailing their arms and legs, trying to stay on the surface. And of course, the more they struggle, the more they sink. The instructor calmly tells them, stop struggling, just relax, lie on your back, release all your muscles, and trust that the water will hold you. It is an act that demands great faith. The person needs to go against all their self-preservation instincts that tell them to fight. But the moment they finally surrender, the moment they release the last bit of tension and give themselves over to the support of the water, the magic happens. They float, effortlessly. Sleep is exactly like that. The bed is the water. Peace is the floating. Surrender is the secret. Let's practice the breath of surrender. This practice is a physical and energetic act of letting go. Inhale gently through your nose, effortlessly. And as you exhale through your mouth, release the air with an audible yet soft sigh. A sound of ah, not a sigh of frustration, but a sigh of deep relief, of surrender. With each sigh, surrender something. On the first, exhale and surrender the day that has passed. All your victories and defeats, let it go. Ah. On the second, inhale, and as you exhale, surrender tomorrow. All your plans and worries, let it go. Ah. On the third sigh, surrender your body. Release the need to feel it or control it. Let it sink into the bed, completely supported. Ah. On the fourth sigh, surrender your mind. Release the need to understand it or silence it. Let it go. Ah. And on the last and deepest sigh, surrender the self. Surrender the doer, the thinker, the observer. Surrender completely to the support of the bed, to the quiet of the night, to the mystery of sleep. I surrender. I trust. I rest. There is nothing more to do, only to float in this ocean of peace, allowing this truth to settle. Nightly Wisdom 23. The wisdom of the second arrow. Even when the mind calms, the body can sometimes keep us awake. A backache, a restless leg, an impending headache, or simply physical discomfort. Our immediate reaction to these sensations is aversion. We label them as bad, as enemies of our sleep. We create a story around them. This pain will keep me awake all night. This means something is wrong with me. I can't stand feeling this anymore. This mental reaction, this torrent of negative thoughts and resistance, is what the Buddha called the second arrow. He explained that, in life, being struck by the first arrow is inevitable. The first arrow is the pain itself, the unpleasant event, the painful physical sensation, the loss, the illness. These things happen. They are part of the human condition. Pain is inevitable. However, suffering, the Buddha said, is the second arrow, which we shoot ourselves. The second arrow is our reaction to the first. It is our lamenting, our anger, our anxiety, our self-pity, our resistance. The first arrow causes pain. The second arrow multiplies suffering. A wise person, upon being struck by the first arrow, does not shoot themselves the second. Tonight, this wisdom is an invitation to investigate your experience. If there is physical discomfort present, observe, Where is the first arrow, and where is the second? The first arrow is the pure physical sensations, perhaps a twinge, a burning, a pressure. The second arrow is the story you tell about these sensations. This is unbearable. This is ruining my night. It is the tension you create in your body as you fight against the sensation. The real suffering, the restlessness that prevents sleep, almost always comes from the second arrow. The good news is that, while we cannot control the first arrow, we have complete power over the second. We can choose not to shoot it. Let's practice this. Find the area of discomfort in your body. Instead of pulling away from it, make the courageous move of approaching it with gentle curiosity. Breathe gently and direct your attention to the center of that sensation. For a moment, release all the words and stories about it. Release the labels of pain or bad. Instead, investigate the raw sensations, like a scientist exploring a new phenomenon. Is the sensation hot or cold? Does it pulse or is it constant? Does it have defined edges or is it diffuse? Does it change in intensity? By doing this, you are disarming the second arrow. You are relating to the direct experience instead of getting lost in your reaction to it. Now imagine you can breathe space around this sensation. With each inhalation, visualize a space of acceptance opening around the area. With each exhalation, soften any muscle tension that is holding it. You are not trying to get rid of the sensation. You are learning to coexist peacefully with it. Pain is a sensation. Suffering is a story. Tonight, I feel the sensation, but I refuse to shoot the second arrow. I create space for my pain, enveloping it in compassion and peace. In this, I find liberation. Breathing in this wisdom. Nightly Wisdom 24. The starry light body. Our experience of the body, especially at night, can be one of something dense, heavy, problematic. We feel it as a mass of flesh and bone, subject to aches, tensions, and the relentless pull of gravity. This perception of the body as a solid and opaque object can, in itself, be a source of imprisonment, making us feel confined and limited. But the deepest contemplative traditions invite us to a radically different view. They suggest that beneath this appearance of solidity, the body is, in its essence, a vibrant field of energy, a luminous and spacious phenomenon, not unlike a galaxy in the night sky. Think of modern science. It tells us that what we perceive as solid matter is, in fact, 99.9% empty space, with subatomic particles vibrating at incredible speeds. Your body is not a noun, but a verb. It is not a thing, but an event, a constant flow of energy and information. Mystical wisdom has always known this. It teaches us that as we quiet the mind and refine our perception, we can begin to feel this subtle and luminous nature of the body. We can begin to experience it not as a burden to be carried, but as a vehicle of light, intrinsically connected to the energy of the cosmos. Tonight, the invitation is for this transformation of perception. This practice helps us to shed the feeling of heaviness and confinement, opening us to an experience of lightness and expansion that is immensely conducive to deep sleep. When we cease to identify with the solidity of the body, we also cease to identify with its problems. Pain and discomfort lose their power when viewed as mere fluctuations in a vast energy field. Rather than malfunctions in a solid machine, we become more space than matter, more light than form. This is a gateway to transcendental peace, where the body ceases to be an obstacle and becomes a portal to the infinite. Begin by sensing your body lying down, but with a new intention. Feel the subtle vibration that is always present beneath the grosser sensations. It might be a slight tingling in your hands and feet. Simply rest your attention there. Now, imagine that each cell of your body is a tiny star, emitting a soft, silvery light. Start with your feet, visualizing them not as flesh and bone, but as a cluster of countless points of light. See them glowing softly in the darkness. Slowly, allow this perception to expand. Your legs become two shimmering nebulae. Your torso becomes the heart of a galaxy, with millions of stars pulsating in unison with your breath. Your arms and hands are rivers of starlight. Your head is a brilliant sphere of luminous consciousness. Continue to relax in this visualization until the sensation of a solid body disappears completely. You are not a heavy body lying on a bed. You are a constellation. You are a field of starlight, weightlessly floating in the silent vastness of space. There is no tension, no boundaries. There is only light, space, and a deep, vibrant peace. Rest as this galaxy of being, resting in this peace. Nightly Wisdom. 25. The Lotus, blooming in the heart. After calming the mind and relaxing the body, we may arrive at a state of stillness that, while peaceful, might feel somewhat cold or empty. It's a neutral silence. The final wisdom to embrace deeper peace invites us to take one last step, to fill this quietude with the radiant warmth of the heart. The most healing peace is not an absence of disturbance, but an overflowing presence of unconditional loving kindness, or metta, as it's called in the Buddhist tradition. It is the recognition that our deepest nature is not only silent and aware, but also inherently loving and compassionate. The perfect symbol for this quality of the heart is the lotus flower. The lotus has its roots in the dark, muddy bottom of a lake. This mud represents the suffering, confusion, and challenges of life. Despite being born in the mud, the flower emerges on the water's surface, pure, immaculate, and radiant, opening its petals to the sun. It transforms darkness into beauty. Our heart is like this lotus flower. It has the capacity to transform the most difficult experiences into compassion, wisdom, and love. The night, with its silence and stillness, is the perfect time to allow our inner lotus to bloom, flooding our being with its fragrance and light. Cultivating metta before sleep is a practice of deep healing. It softens the edges of the heart that may have been hardened by the day's battles. It dissolves the last vestiges of resentment, judgment, and fear. It creates a field of energy, of safety and warmth around us, making us a safe haven for ourselves. When we fall asleep immersed in this energy of loving kindness, sleep becomes not just physical rest, but a healing for the soul. The regeneration process that occurs during the night is amplified by this quality of warmth and unconditional acceptance. We don't just sleep, we nourish ourselves from the deepest sources of our own heart. Bring your attention to the center of your chest, to the space of your heart. Imagine there, at rest, a small lotus flower bud, with its petals tightly closed. It can be any color you wish, white, pink, gold. Now, begin to direct your breath to this point, as if you could breathe in and out of your heart. With each gentle inhalation, imagine that you are offering the lotus bud the purest and most nourishing energy. With each exhalation, visualize one of the petals opening, slowly and gracefully. Continue at this gentle pace, inhaling, nourishing, exhaling, a new petal opens. Observe how the process happens effortlessly, in its own time. As the petals open, a soft golden light begins to emanate from the center of the flower. It is a warm, gentle, and unconditionally loving light. With each breath, this light becomes brighter, stronger. Feel it filling your entire chest, warming you from within. Allow this golden light to expand, flowing down through your abdomen and legs, rising up through your shoulders, arms, and head. Your entire body is now immersed in this radiant light of loving kindness. Rest within this glow. You are the source of this love. You are this light. May my heart open in peace. May I be filled with the warmth of loving kindness. May this light cradle me into a deep and healing sleep, allowing this truth to settle. Nightly Wisdom. 26. The world as a dream at dawn. Our nighttime worries seem, in the moment, so solid, so real, so overwhelmingly important. The argument we had, the approaching deadline, the financial uncertainty, we cling to them as if they were eternal and immutable truths. The weight of these solid worries is what compresses our heart and accelerates our mind, preventing us from surrendering to rest. We become the protagonists of a very serious personal drama, and we forget that perhaps the nature of reality is much more fluid, much more ethereal than we believe. One of the deepest and most liberating teachings of Buddhism is the contemplation of the dreamlike or dream-similar nature of all phenomena. The famous Diamond Sutra concludes with a verse that summarizes this view. Thus, should you see this fleeting world, a morning star, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream. This teaching does not invite us to nihilism or indifference. On the contrary, it invites us to hold our experiences, especially the painful ones, with more lightness. It reminds us that everything, every thought, every emotion, every situation is impermanent, insubstantial, and arises from a complex web of causes and conditions, just like the scenes of a dream. When you are in the midst of a nightmare, the fear seems 100% real. The monster that chases you is terrifying, but the moment you wake up, you smile with relief. Ah, it was just a dream. The monster disappeared, not because you killed it, but because you perceived its true nature. It was never solid to begin with. Applying this wisdom to our nighttime worries is like beginning to wake up from the dream of anxiety. The worry about work that seems like a monster at night, in the light of this wisdom, reveals itself as a passing cloud, a phantom, a bubble. This does not negate our responsibility to deal with the situation the following day, but it removes its power to terrorize and paralyze us now. Contemplate a worry that is weighing on your mind tonight. Feel its solidity, its weight. Now, let's play with our perception. Imagine that this worrying situation is being projected onto the wall of your room, like a movie. Observe the scene, the characters, the emotions. It seems very real. Now, imagine that you have a remote control for the projection. Turn down the color until the image becomes black and white. Notice how this already changes its emotional quality. Now, turn down the volume until the scene becomes silent. Now, imagine that the image begins to flicker, to become transparent, like a mirage in the desert. You can see through it. You begin to realize that it is not made of solid matter, but of light and shadow, of thoughts and fears. Continue observing as the image completely dissolves, like smoke dissipating into the air, or like a soap bubble that gently bursts and disappears, leaving no trace. What remains? The silent space of your consciousness, the blank screen, the peace. The worry has not been resolved, but its insubstantial nature has been revealed, and in that revelation, there is immense freedom. This fleeting world is like a dream. I hold my problems lightly. By seeing their impermanent nature, I free my mind from their grip and find peace. Carrying this understanding. Nightly Wisdom 27. Resting as consciousness itself. We have arrived at the heart of silence. The body is relaxed, perhaps feeling like a field of stars. The heart is open, like a luminous lotus. The mind is calmer, seeing the dreamlike nature of its worries. And now, what remains? There remains the simplest and, at the same time, deepest experience of all, consciousness itself. The silent, formless consciousness that has been here all along, perceiving every sensation, every sound, every thought, every practice. Frequently, we identify with the objects of consciousness. I am my body, I am my thoughts, I am my emotions. The final wisdom, the gateway to absolute peace, is to cease identifying with the objects and, instead, rest as the subject itself, as consciousness itself. Think of consciousness as a mirror. A mirror reflects everything that passes before it. A smiling face, a storm cloud, a beautiful landscape. The mirror allows all images to come and go without clinging to any and without being stained by any. When an angry face is reflected, the mirror does not become angry. When the image disappears, the mirror does not become empty or sad. It simply remains in its natural state, clear, open, and reflective. Our pure consciousness is exactly like this mirror. It perceives pain, but it is not pain. It perceives joy, but it is not joy. It perceives thoughts, but it is not thoughts. It is the silent, unchanging, and ever-present space that makes all experience possible. Resting as consciousness itself is the most effortless practice there is, because there is nothing to be done. It is a cessation of all directed mental activity. We are no longer focusing on the breath, or on a visualization, or on a mantra. These are the objects in the mirror. Now we simply relax and become the mirror. It is a return to our true nature, which already is, and always has been, peaceful. It's like the astronaut who stops worrying about the debris floating around his spaceship, and instead relaxes in the silent vastness of space itself. There is nowhere to go, nothing to achieve. The peace we seek is not a destination, it is our starting point. This practice is an invitation to let go of everything. Let go of the focus on the breath. Let go of any mental image. Let go of any word or mantra. Let everything go, and simply rest in the simple fact that you are conscious. Feel the silent presence that is here, now, reading these words in your mind. This presence has no form, no color, no age, no name. It is the pure I am before any adjective. Simply be this presence. If a thought arises, no problem. Let it be a small snowflake dissolving in the vast ocean of your consciousness. If a sensation arises, let it be a small wave on the surface of that same ocean. Do not identify with the waves. Do not identify with the snowflakes. Remain as the vast, deep, and silent ocean. I am not my thoughts, nor my emotions. I am the silent consciousness that embraces all. I rest in my true nature, which is peace. There is nothing more to do, but to be. Okay, we've reached the final stage of our journey together. These are the last wisdoms, designed to guide you gently through the final portal, into the embrace of absolute peace. After the 30th wisdom, the conclusion will come to seal our practice. Nightly Wisdom 28. The Universe's Lullaby. When the mind becomes exceptionally quiet, a subtle phenomenon may be perceived. It is something that mystical traditions describe as the sound of silence, or the uncreated sound. It is not a sound that enters the ears from the outside, but an inner vibration, the resonance of consciousness itself. It may be perceived as a high-pitched, continuous hum, like the sound of a distant bell, or like the murmur of a cosmic river. This subtle sound is considered the background music of the universe, the primordial vibration from which all existence emerges. It is always present, but is usually obscured by the noise of our thoughts and the cacophony of the outside world. This wisdom teaches us that when we reach a state of deep silence, we do not need to remain in an emptiness. We can gently direct our attention to this inner vibration. Listening to the sound of silence is a powerful and profoundly calming meditation. It is as if, having silenced our own little mental radio station, we can finally tune into the broadcast of the universe itself. This sound has no beginning and no end. It is constant, stable, and inherently peaceful. As we rest our attention on it, it becomes the final anchor, a cosmic lullaby that cradles us into even deeper states of consciousness. Many masters have taught that this sound is the manifestation of our own primordial nature, our audible connection to the web of life. Listening to it is an act of returning to the source. It dissolves the last vestiges of isolation, making us feel part of something immense, harmonious, and eternal. For the mind seeking a final point of focus before surrendering to sleep, this sound is the perfect refuge. It is not a thought. It is not a story. It requires no effort. It is a vibratory presence that calms and holds us, guiding us through the border between wakefulness and sleep with incomparable gentleness. The practice is of extreme simplicity. Lie down in complete rest. Allow your hearing to open, first to the external sounds of your room, and then, gradually, turn the focus of your listening inward, as if you could place your ears inside your own head. Don't force, don't strain to hear anything. Just maintain a gentle intention of being receptive to any subtle vibration or sound that may be present in the depths of silence. At first, you may not hear anything. Be patient. Simply rest in the stillness. In time, you may begin to perceive a very high-pitched and delicate hum. When you notice it, don't cling to it or analyze it. Simply rest your attention upon it. Let it be your sole object of focus. Imagine you are floating on this river of sound. Let it wash over you, soothe you, dissolve you. It is the lullaby your soul has always known. Let it carry you home, to the heart of deep, peaceful sleep, resting in this peace. Nightly Wisdom 29. The light that gives itself to the world. On this journey, we have cultivated a treasure. Through releasing worries, welcoming emotions, and surrendering to silence, we have gathered in our hearts a pearl of peace. It is a tangible peace, a warmth, a stillness. The natural instinct might be to hoard this treasure, to cling to this pleasant sensation, fearing its loss. We feel that, having worked to find this peace, it belongs to us. But the final, most expansive wisdom of the path invites us to an act of supreme generosity, an act that, paradoxically, multiplies our own peace instead of diminishing it. This act is the practice of merit dedication. In Buddhist tradition, it's understood that any positive energy, any peace, any wisdom we cultivate through our practice isn't just for our personal benefit. It can be consciously offered, dedicated, for the well-being of all beings. It is the ultimate recognition of our interconnectedness. Our peace is not separate from the world's peace. By offering our calm, we contribute to the universal reservoir of peace. This act dissolves the last barriers of the ego, which wants to possess and accumulate. It transforms our rest from an act of self-care into an act of compassionate service to the world. Imagine the peace you've cultivated is the flame of a candle. The flame is bright, warm, and stable. You could keep this light to yourself in your dark room, or you could use your flame to light 1,000 other candles. In doing so, your own flame doesn't diminish in the least. In fact, now the whole room is flooded with light. Our inner peace is like this. By giving it away, we don't lose it. We amplify it. We become a source of light in the world, even as we sleep. This final act of generosity opens the heart in an unparalleled way, creating a sense of purpose and connection that is the hallmark of true wisdom. Let's practice dedication now. Feel the peace present within you. Perhaps it's a stillness, a softness, a warmth in your chest. Recognize this quality as a gentle golden light radiating from your heart. Take a moment to appreciate this feeling, this achievement of your gentle effort. Now, with a clear intention in your mind, begin to offer this light. First, offer it to those physically near you, in your home. Visualize this golden light extending gently, filling each room, touching each person with a blessing of peace and tranquil sleep. Now, expand this light beyond your home. Send it to your neighbors, to your town. Think especially of those suffering tonight, those in pain, fear, or also struggling with insomnia. Let your light reach them, offering a moment of relief and comfort. Continue to expand. Send your peace to your entire state, to the whole continent, to the entire planet. Visualize the earth floating in space, enveloped by this gentle, healing golden light emanating from your heart. Don't forget any being, the E, large and the small, the visible and the invisible. May the peace I have found in my heart extend to all beings. May all be safe and protected. May all find calm and happiness. May all beings, without exception, rest in deep peace, allowing this truth to settle. Nightly wisdom. 30. The raindrop returns to the ocean. And so we arrive at the end of our journey of 30 wisdoms. We have traveled a long way together, from the turbulent shore of daily worries, across the river of practices and contemplations, until we reach this other shore, the shore of deep peace. And now, on this shore, what is the final wisdom? The final wisdom is that there is nowhere else to go. The search is over. The peace you have so long sought is not some exotic destination you have reached. It is your true nature, to which you have returned. Imagine a raindrop born from the ocean's evaporation. It travels the skies as a cloud, seeing the world from new perspectives. It falls on mountains, nourishes forests, and flows through winding rivers, living 1,000 adventures. Throughout its journey, it may have felt like a separate drop, with its own story and its own destiny. But, in the end, the river flows into the sea. And the moment the raindrop touches the ocean's surface, it remembers. It remembers that it was never just a drop. It always was, in its essence, the ocean. Its journey wasn't to become something new, but to return to its own vastness. Our search for peace is exactly like this raindrop's journey. We feel separate, as anxious and imperfect individuals, and embark on a journey of practices to find peace. These practices, like the river, are essential. They purify us, guide us, and lead us in the right direction. But the final destination isn't a technique or a special state. The final destination is the dissolution of the search itself. It is the moment when the raindrop of our separate identity relaxes and merges back into the ocean of peace that is our true nature. You don't have peace. You are peace. You don't attain silence. You are the silence in which thoughts appear and disappear. Therefore, the final instruction is the simplest of all. Stop. Stop practicing. Stop trying. Stop being a meditator or a seeker. Let go of all identities, including that of someone doing a sleep meditation. Let the narrator's voice dissolve. Let all the wisdom settle and integrate silently. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to understand, nothing more to achieve. The journey has brought you here, to the ocean's edge. Now, the only act that remains is to surrender. Let the drop return to its source. Trust the ocean. It knows how to take care of itself. You are the ocean. Rest in your own immensity. Our shared journey through 30 nightly wisdoms comes to its gentle end. We departed together from a place of unrest, learning to release the empty boats and burdens of the day on the banks of
the river of time. Together, we cultivated wisdom, emptying our cups to welcome the new, learning to be the sky and not the cloud, and discovering the joy that blossoms in the garden of others' hearts. And finally, we plunged into the ocean of deep peace, learning to dissolve in the sacred darkness, to surrender with trust, and to remember our true nature, vast as the ocean itself. The voice that guided you now falls silent, but the wisdom we awakened together remains. It is not in
these words. It is in your own breath, in your own heart, in your own awareness. The peace you feel now was not given to you. It was rediscovered. Remember that this place of calm is always available to you. It is your true home. May your sleep be deep, serene, and healing. May you awaken tomorrow renewed, not only in body but in spirit, carrying the seed of this peace into your new day. And may this peace radiate from you, touching all beings who cross your path. If this journey touched your heart, I invite you to join us in intention, writing in the comments the phrase, "May all beings find peace," so that this energy of compassion may spread. To help more people find this haven of tranquility, a simple like on the video helps this peace reach those who need it most. And to continue receiving these journeys weekly, these pauses of serenity in your life, simply subscribe to the channel. By activating the bell, you will be reminded whenever a new haven like this is ready for you. Good night. Rest well. Rest in peace.